Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the All Balls Sports Show, brought to you in part by Truelove's Pizza and Grits at 1144 Riverside Drive. A discussion of any and all sports, local, regional, and national. And now, here are your hosts, Dan Janes, Eddie Bobo, Ty Cobb, and the coach, Vance Ballou.
Howdy, howdy. Welcome into another edition of All the Ball Sports Show for this Thursday evening, the 4th day of October. Brought to you by Truelove's Pizza and Grits, 388-7770. They're at 1144 Riverside Drive, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays now. Thursday, 11 till 8. Friday and Saturday, 11 until 9. Closed Sunday through Wednesday. So keep that in mind. Full menu back at Truelove's, and the dining room is now back open too. So keep that in mind.
And Hart.
Well, look who's here.
He must have finished his homework.
Boys and girls, his homework is finished, and Maurice Patton is here. We got to get him another chair. We've got another chair we can bring over.
Just grab a chair there, Maurice.
Yeah. Let's don't run Jase out of the camera shot. Yeah, we need to turn Jase in. There we go. Here we go. And Maurice Patton from the Daily Herald is here. He's with us today. How you doing, Mo? Oh, wait a minute. I got to get your microphone. There we go.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's okay. No interruption at all.
Sorry, Jase. Didn't mean to make you have to move.
We were just doing Truelove's Pizza and Grit spot, so it's not a big thing.
Well, don't let me interrupt you with that.
Oh no, we've got Truelove's Pizza and Grit coming up after the show, by the way. Hey, good news, very good news. University of Tennessee will not lose this weekend.
Some will find that a surprise.
That's because we're not playing. We have a bye week.
Is that why Ty's not here today?
I have no idea. I think he is involved in a study session with City Council.
Man needs to get his priorities straight.
I know, exactly. So you got yours straight. You're
yeah,
here.
exactly. I got my homework done,
Yes,
so I
you
could
did.
come out and play.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Well,
Good to be anywhere.
No, well, it's good to be here in more than the last 10 or 15 minutes of the show. I was glad I was
There
able
you
to
go.
get here. So
That's true. Hey, got to give a shout out to my brother up in New Jersey, Tom, and his wife Frankie. So I'm gonna try to do that every chance I get. Haven't seen him in quite some time, but
Where is he again?
New Jersey,
Joycey.
Joycey. Yeah. He's one of the Joycey boys.
right across from Manhattan, in
I
Jersey.
I was fortunate enough when I was back in another life, I actually got to cover Vanderbilt in the NCAA tournaments up
Really?
there at East Rutherford.
Yeah.
That was the year Jeff Green walked when Georgetown beat him in the, I guess, in the region semifinals, actually. So, yeah.
Was that when Georgetown was the big powerhouse?
No, that wasn't then. That was, I guess this was in like
when-
07 when Vandy had Derek Byers and
Yeah.
Shane Foster and Alex Gordon and that bunch. And, yeah, it's a fun team to watch. But, yeah, but I got into Manhattan for a while I was up there because I never would have gotten there otherwise. But it's a big town.
Yeah. My son just got back from there. He went up to Philadelphia, which he loved. He said New York is way too big. And he took a lot of pictures, and I'm glad he did because it looks nice.
It's good.
He says Times Square is not that impressive in the daytime. He said, but at night, it comes alive.
Oh, I bet it does. I mean, I was up there at night. I've never been during the day, but I did go in for a little while, walked around, looked lost, was lost. You know?
Even with a GPS, you'd probably be lost.
Yeah, you know, as much traffic as there is, you wouldn't have really had time to look at it anyway. So.
And I've always been told you better know where you're walking or people just run you right over.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I managed to find some barbecue up there, though. I wish
What?
I could remember the name of the place.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been a southerner.
Was it American barbecue or Korean?
No. It was almost Southern barbecue. I mean, it was pretty dang good.
All right.
Just don't ask for sweet tea.
No,
you
that
even
don't
ask.
exist up there.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
You can get it at McDonald's, and there is an Irish pub up on Bear Mountain that made sweet tea for some young men that were attending West Point that frequent the pub.
but not in New York City. You won't find it. So I
Unless you
hear.
go to
I haven't been
McDonald's.
there. Unless you go to McDonald's.
Yeah, guy I graduated high school with, his dad was relocated to New York several years ago. Him and his brother stayed here and lived in the house that his parents still owned here. And but anyway, a few years later, his sister was getting married, so him and his brother went up to New York for the wedding, and he said they went to the restaurant that was there in the hotel one morning to get breakfast, and waitress asked him what he would like for breakfast. He said, "I want 2 eggs scrambled, some country ham, and a biscuit." Well, they brought him his egg scrambled. They brought him a piece of square cooked ham and a bagel.
Yeah.
And he said he looked at it and looked at her and says, "What is this?" She said, "That's what you ordered." He said, "No, it's not." He said, "I ordered country ham and a biscuit to go with my eggs." He said,
Oh, goodness.
"This is cooked ham. It's not country ham." She said, "Well, sir, all ham comes from the country."
Technically, she's correct.
Oh, by the way, there is Cracker Barrels in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't realize until we looked. We had during graduation week, we were flying in one that was from Bulgaria, and he said one thing he wanted to eat at was a Cracker Barrel. Well, we hadn't realized you just go east over the river, next exit, there's a Cracker Barrel. So we all go over to the Cracker Barrel. You get sweet tea. And the little lady that waited on us had us at the big table and passed out. And she said, "Is there anything I need to explain what it is on the menu?" And my oldest son looked at her and said, "Ma'am, we know we're from Tennessee. We know what grits are." And her reply was, "Good. I'm glad I don't have to try to explain it."
Shoot, y'all probably could have explained some stuff to her.
Yeah.
Gravy ain't grits.
Yeah.
Spam ain't ham, and Mona Lisa was a man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You know, my wife used to have this motivational tape that she got from this speaker, and one of the things he was talking about, he was a very successful businessman and everything, but he said he lived in the southern part of Florida. He said, now for you people who don't understand geography, the further south you go in Florida, the more northern it gets. He says, so I was in the southern part, which is up there near Alabama and Georgia. He said, and I was having breakfast, and this lady from upstate New York was there, and they brought her breakfast out, and of course it had the grits on it. And she says, "What is this?" And they said, "This is grits." "I ain't eating this stuff. Take this back and bring me something good like a bagel." Said, well, the waitress was gone for quite a while. She come back with a small hunting dog.
Oh, Lord.
Wouldn't you like to hear Louis Grizzard's take on what's going on in America right now?
No. No. It would be impossible to listen to because you'd die of a heart attack laughing so hard. Anyway, Jason Hoath and Jase Hoath are here, and we haven't played at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in a month. You realize that?
I know. It's been. I was thinking about the other day. I was out there running in the morning. I'm running by the stadium. I said, "Man, it's been a long time since we've played here." And I guess it's been, this week. I guess it'll be 4 weeks by the time we come home next week.
Yeah.
So.
We've had a band contest there. We've had a lot of things at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, but we haven't played football.
There was a soccer game over there Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was there?
Is.
Oh, it is?
Is.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they advanced.
This is the first round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have last time we played there was Summit. Then we had the Spring Hill week. Then we had a bye week, and we're going to Franklin County this week. So it'll be a long time coming.
Hey, at least it won't be cold.
Well, at Franklin County, well,
It ain't
they
got
haven't
here
started
yet.
yet. We ain't got there yet.
Eddie and I remember the night
I've already
at Franklin County.
Oh,
we sat
God.
in that mule, and there were ice crystals falling from the sky.
Yeah,
It was cold.
I've already got my stuff packed. I don't care what that weather forecast says. My rain jacket's going. My sweatshirts are going.
Yeah.
My extra pair of socks are going.
Well, let's talk about the Spring Hill game. You guys brought the Mayor's Cup back to Columbia, but unusual circumstances got rained out on Friday night. And I don't think, and looking back on all the statistics and looking back on all the stories, I don't think that Columbia Central ever finished a game on a Sunday.
Probably not.
We done it on a
Probably
Saturday.
Yeah, it was a wild weekend. We didn't really have that great of a week of practice leading up into that game, and
Any reason for it?
I don't know. I don't know if our guys are in a mid-season lull, because a lot of the times it happens. We've been going since January, so I mean it's it's a year-round sport. So I don't think there was probably as much hype built up around this game this year as it was last year, and part of that's due to last year we were both 4-1. There was SEC running back and Dante Smith on the other side. It was Spring Hill's year last year. And so there was a lot of hype in that game. We hadn't played each other in a few years. Still excitement, but I think it was a different level of excitement this year. They were obviously winless coming in. We were 2-3 coming in, so our records weren't up to par as they were the year before. So I don't know. We didn't practice well, and I told the guys on Monday. I said, guys, they're a pretty good ball team. Don't look at their record. They played some pretty tough opponents. If you look at teams they played up to this point in the season, they've played some of the best around. Summit is obviously defending region champs, in our region in 5A. Riverdale, Riverdale's Riverdale. Columbia Academy, even though they're a smaller school, they're having an outstanding year. We'll probably see them in Cookeville on the last day of football. I'd be surprised if they're not there. And Tullahoma's much improved. Of course, Coach Olive down there always does an outstanding job with this program. So they had played some pretty tough opponents coming into us, and we came out there Friday, and I don't know where we were at, and it was. We were missing some plays here and there, and I remember their first touchdown. They're driving on us, and we finally get them into a 3rd and long situation where we want them to be. We want them throwing the ball because that wasn't their strong point. They threw it out there, and I got 2 guys coming just to make the play in the backfield, and somehow they both missed that tackle. And he goes around and scores a touchdown, and that was just kind of how Friday night went. We were there, we just weren't making the plays. So thank God for the storm. Thank God for the storm.
Did it give you an opportunity to go back to the house, take a look at what you were doing wrong?
Oh yeah, of course we come out in the second half, and it had lightning a little bit in the first half. I don't know if the referee saw it or if it was just too far away.
I think they were avoiding it.
Yeah, they could have been
to get this game in.
Try to, and then after that first kickoff, that bolt came right down. I'm watching Dontavius run the ball, and I was like, we're about to go inside.
You couldn't ignore that one, huh?
No, we couldn't ignore that one. I was right across the street. So, we go inside, and we're up. Of course, we're up there in the locker room. And, of course, if you've ever been to Spring Hill, you get the gym.
Yeah.
And then their locker room's on one side, and the away locker room's on the other side. So, people are walking in the gym, and, nothing was bad was going on or anything. But it was just, restless. What are we doing? Are we waiting? We end up leaving to go made a food line run, get a bunch of peanut butter and jelly, and just food because we didn't know. I was determined. I'm like, I'm not going to walk out of here and just concede. I'll be here till 4:00 in the morning if I have to finish this game. So we went and got food and brought it back.
Not sure who'll be here with me, but
I was like, we're going to finish.
There'll be 3 people there, PA guy. And,
I know. But so we get back, and I talked to Coach Martin at the time, and the weather wasn't going to get any better, which I don't know how the other teams across the state finished. But we just decided that we're going to have to finish another time. Saturday wasn't good because he had a lot of his guys were going to be on some college visits, and which
Mm-hmm.
I understand. You know, that Saturdays for high school players are for those college visits. They're important for them. So I said, hey, let's come back Sunday. And of course, me, it doesn't matter to me because I knew I had a bye week. You know, so we can play whenever next week. But Sunday was the best option for both teams, and so we decided to come back at 1:00, which thank God, the weather held off during Sunday during that 2-hour span. Yeah,
But that
rain in the
morning it
morning.
looked like it was gonna pour.
And then after the game, it started raining again.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
when the game concluded. So we actually came in talking about having a chance. We brought the guys in Sunday morning, fed them breakfast, and we watched about 45 minutes of film from the first half of that game, and just kind of went back and showed them, said, hey, you know what kind of team they are going to be. They're going to come out. They're going to try to hit you in the mouth, and we showed them that even on the touchdowns, like, hey, we're there. We didn't make the play. So we went through each, the defensive plays, and this is what you got to fit right here. Or offensively, we're this block away from this being a really good game. So we talked about some of those adjustments. Coach Taylor, the defense staff, put a new defense in Sunday morning. We had talked about, we actually ran it last year, but we said, hey, this front might work well as an adjustment. So they put that in Sunday morning. Actually came in handy Sunday afternoon. So 36-hour halftime was really good. Enjoyed it.
Wouldn't advise it every week.
I don't know. The worst part was the laundry, though.
But here's the thing, though. Let's go back to the Summit game where we come out 21-0 in the first half. What happened at halftime that caused
They didn't
us
have
to just come
36
out?
hours.
It was
20 minutes, not 36 hours.
That's right.
20-minute halftime.
Well,
But
actually, you got a little
guys,
longer than
you
20
guys
minutes.
are blowing and going, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Eddie and I saw it. We said, these guys are flat-footed. They can't do anything.
Well, and going into that game, I knew Summit was going to be a tough team.
Right.
But I also knew they weren't the same team as they were last year.
Right.
And for whatever reason, we came out hitting on all cylinders. We had a really good game plan offensively, defensively. Our defense in the first half, we were fitting where we needed to fit. We had very few missed tackles. We went at halftime, and it was 21-0. And the first thing I told the guys, I said, look, you got 2 more quarters. You're playing against a really good ball team. They're going to come out, and they're going to hit you in the mouth the second half, and you got to be ready to fight back. And they came out and hit us in the mouth. We didn't fight back. And,
well, we lost a few players, too, though, to injuries during that game.
Yeah, our tight end, Aaron Farmer, went down, broken collarbone. Took a good shot in the first half, which hurt.
Well, and Josh Hand went out early.
Josh Hand went down second series of the game. He had a little high-low block, and he's still kind of limping around. He's borderline questionable for tomorrow night still as it is, so which doesn't help. Which we can talk about some more injuries here in a second.
Oh, yeah.
I got a long list of them. But and we come out in that second half, they didn't really do anything different. We just didn't fit where we were supposed to fit in the second half, and we counted on film that we had like 10 missed tackles the second half, and that's what you do. That's how you give up 30 points in half and you don't tackle.
And the thing is, against a wing T team, when you get up like that 3 touchdowns, you feel like you've got them where you want them because they're a run when they want to, throw when they have to type situation, and they never had to get away from what they do.
And that was because not only could we not tackle on defense, we became stagnant on offense. We couldn't move the ball second half. We couldn't generate first downs. We couldn't run the clock. And a lot of bad things fell apart. I was talking with the staff this week. We should be 5-1, 2-0 in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And giving up the one Lincoln County last play of the game essentially, and instead we're sitting at 3-3 and 0-2, almost in a must-win situation from here on out. So you kind of dug ourselves a hole. We got to get ourselves out of it now. But going on with the injuries though, so Aaron Farmer's out.
Should I make a list here?
I know. So Watson Harvey obviously tore his ACL in Lawrence County, so he's out for the year.
Wow.
Antoine Moore, my other freshman, they're late in the game against Spring Hill. Looked like he rolled his ankle, but there might be something a little more there. He's supposed to go back to the doctor, so I think it is doubtful to see his return for this year, which hurts us big time. So he's out. Of course, Josh Hand. I love Josh to death. Josh, he's a different character. He, at the Spring Hill game, he doesn't dress out Friday night. So all right, game's postponed. Maybe we have Josh back. By Sunday. So we dress him out, tape him up, and it's wet and slick outside. All right, guys, when you go down the hill, walk on the grass. Don't walk on the concrete.
No.
Josh walks on the concrete. He slips and falls and hurts his ankle all over again
My God.
before Sunday even starts. So he's sitting in the back of the Gator for the whole second half of the Spring Hill game.
Wow.
And then so he's been real limited in practice this week, but even the little bit he's got in, it's been real tender. So I'm just not sure about his status for tomorrow night, unfortunately. So, but we're just hurting a lot of spots. It's fall break. Fall break's not a good thing.
No.
Not a fan of it. I love spring break.
Let's use the term fall rest period.
I know.
Break seems to be a bad thing.
I know. So,
Well, it's funny. Football coaches like spring break. I'm pretty sure baseball coaches like fall break.
probably so.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, get back to that Spring Hill game just
Yeah.
a second. I wasn't there, but your first offensive play coming out of halftime sounds like you dialed something up.
Yeah. We ran the same play we started the season out with in Hillwood. Ran a little jet sweep to Darien, and Simmons, wide receiver, instead of blocking, he kind of did a little stock and go. Just so a little jet sweep pass, but it ended up being wide open. We didn't overthrow it this time. Of course, we're all holding our breath and make sure, because we know we need this play to get us back into it, and that's really what gave us the spark.
He looked like he did a pretty good leaping catch to catch it too. So.
Yeah, well, they're near the end of the game in the fourth quarter. He went up and made another big catch off of another kind of a trick play. We had two big trick plays in that game that really helped us out. I mean, we were even Sunday we were kind of flat in warm-ups, but that first play kind of gave our guys some energy. So that was huge for us.
And the thing is, when you run Darien on that jet, as a defense, you have to honor that.
You got to. You got to come down and play him. Because if you don't, and then that's where we're, if you don't come down, then he's going to run. And then if he gets to the open field, you just never know.
Right.
And then,
actually, you do know.
Yeah. It works out in our favor.
Yeah. And one of the big sparks for your team, Christian Biggers, he has really come on.
Yeah, he's been a good ball player. With our lack of depth and lack of bodies at running back, he's really had to take on that role, which we knew coming into this year that he was definitely going to get some touches. We just weren't sure how many. You see a kid play middle school ball and does great. You just never know until it transfers over to high school. And I've been pleased with him this year.
I'll tell you,
he's taking a pounding at times.
I love his vision once he gets into the open field. He sees the field very well.
He does. He's got a good.
The only habit he has that I wish he would break is he has a tendency to want to look over his shoulder.
Yeah, a little bit. He just needs to run. Just needs to go.
Just run.
Yeah, just run.
Go. Yep.
just go.
The tackle may happen, but just run.
Just go. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I've been pleased with him this year. He's gonna have to have a big night for us tomorrow night. So I was telling our offensive line, y'all, we got to pick it up because, Darien can't be running the ball 30 times a game. I mean, it's not bad if he does, but he can only take so much of a beating throughout.
Well, I was
Friday night
concerned during the Summit game when he got sandwiched in the end zone, and I said, "Oh my God," I hope he's able to come back because that was a vicious hit.
Yeah, he took a couple shots right there at the end of the game. One on their sideline, and of course the one in the end zone. Yeah. That was pretty brutal.
That was a brutal one there. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was limited in practice the week after that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Whitthorne Tigers finished up, went to the championship game. How did we do?
Ended up coming up short to a pretty good Lewisburg team. Running back for Lewisburg, he was the real deal. He ran the ball hard. But Whitthorne was much improved this year. I think they won 2 games the previous year and come out this year and only lose 2 games. Both those losses were to Lewisburg. But
Lewisburg finished up undefeated, didn't they?
They were undefeated. Lewisburg didn't lose. So, I mean, if you're going to lose to somebody, you lose to the best, I guess, and that's it. I mean, they beat Columbia Academy in the Jamboree. They beat A.I. Cox throughout the year. They beat Spring Hill Middle. So, as far as Murray County goes,
they're the Murray County champs.
They did pretty well. So, proud of Jase. He had a great year this year. Played linebacker and tight end. So.
And an award winner.
Yeah, he made the all-conference team for the
Cool.
Big South all-conference. So I was excited and proud of him for that. So,
good.
yeah. Got a good group of 8th graders, yeah.
And an incoming freshman next year.
Yeah. So middle school days are done for football.
So how's it going to be playing for this guy?
Good.
He's probably a little nervous. I've told him some stories. So, but he's come out.
But he's with you on the sidelines every Friday night anyway.
He is, and and we can talk about that job in a sec. But him and my younger son Nate. Of course, Nate was 6th grade this year. They came out and did some summer workouts a couple times last year and did some of the running with us. So they kind of have a general idea that it's a little different in high school. So, but I think he'll do okay.
How's Mama Hoath feel about this?
She's sad that I'm already going to high school.
About playing football, though.
Oh, she's happy I'm playing for my dad now.
Really?
Cool. Be good. I'm excited to have him up there. Jase is coming up. A couple good running backs coming up from Whitthorne. Some linemen coming up. A couple of athletes coming up from Ria Cox too. So I'm excited about the freshman group I got now and the freshman group I got coming in. I think it'll be a good combination of some size and athleticism.
The freshman group you have now, you've got some big mamma jammas on that line.
Yeah, we do have some pretty good size kids.
I mean, those kids are pretty good size.
Yeah, they are. Big thing for them will be developing this off season.
Right.
Because there's, like I said, good size. It's just transition from middle school to high school, learning all of what you got to do to be an offense or defensive lineman. That's, one of those positions. They don't get all the glory or anything like that, but it's more than just lining up and hitting the guy across from you.
Right.
It's probably one of the more complex positions to actually learn because, for offensive line, it's a group of 5 that got to work together. If one person messes up, then number 1 or number 2 is going to be on their back in the backfield. So, they've got a long way to go. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. And that's the thing. I mean, you see, if you just as a spectator, you're coming to watch a game, and then, running back makes a big play. That's great. But all of a sudden, running back gets hit in the backfield, and it could have just been one guy that made a mistake.
Yeah.
Other 4 might have had great blocks, but then you hear, y'all got to block. Y'all got to, and it might just be one guy that made a mistake, and everybody else really blocked well.
Then you get that. Then you get that one parent in the stand. Hit somebody.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. But I'm excited about that group though. They like I said, they got a long way to go, but there's definitely potential there. So we'll see what the off season brings for them. So we might see, depending on our depth, some of them might get some more playing time this year. Hopefully nobody else gets hurt or anything, but
it's got to be a big blow to lose both Antoine and West
Harvey
Watson.
Yeah, it is. They were 2 starting outside linebackers in our defense, and having both of them go down, essentially what it does is it takes Keelan Littlejohn off the offensive line. Well, forces him into rotating to be a 2-way player. Same thing with David Bailey with offense now. David Bailey, if you notice last against Spring Hill, we moved him to tight end. So he's rotating in at tight end. So with Aaron Farmer going down, so with some of our injuries, we've kind of forced some players to have him play both ways, which it's difficult. We've done in the past. 2009, 2010, we had some guys that didn't come off the field. So it can be done, but it's tough. It's tough. So
I would imagine one of the tougher things about it, aside from the fatigue factor, is just having to coach those guys on the fly because you don't get to talk to them when the other side of the ball is in the game.
Right, and even with David Bailey, teaching him the tight end position, he doesn't know all the routes. So we know that when he's in the game, we're still kind of limited on what we can do with him because he's been an offensive lineman for the past 2 years. So we're kind of just a little bit at a time, and we got to be selective, for Coach Davis, who do I got in the game? All right, Maximus is in the game at tight end. Okay, so we have lets him know what he can and
what
can't
you can
do.
and can't call. Yeah.
Right. So it plays an important role, and like you said, it's very they come off for special teams. You run and find somebody, and you coach them up on offense or defense, then you run back. And that's what happens a lot. Because a lot of our guys are having to play special teams right now too. So there's a lot of coaching on the fly. We don't really have that opportunity to sit down with them. Now, Franklin County does though. They're still able to fully platoon their offense and defense, and I went to the Summit Franklin County game last week, so I know that. But and that's something that's nice. If you have an opportunity to sit down and talk with your group, that's really good. It's really helpful.
You got any tight end reverses in for David?
No, but I tell you what, if he catches the ball, he can run. I know you weren't at the Spring Hill game, and one of their touchdowns, I think it was their second touchdown they scored at Spring Hill. And the little running back, the Hadrian Phillips, a really pretty fast kid. He gets down their sideline, and David's chasing him down. And for about 35, 40 yards, David step with him right behind him. Like that, and the running back's not getting any distance. Now, David didn't catch him, but for about 40 yards, they were running the same speed.
He didn't get left, huh?
They were running the same speed. David's 6'3", 245, 250.
Good
and he is moving.
Kid.
So if we're able to get him the ball out in space, I asked him today, I said, hey, you do know how to lower your shoulder and try to run somebody over. He said, yeah, okay. Just making sure. Making sure, I don't want somebody taking your legs out.
And when you get him the ball in space like that, it's going to go back to what Herm Edwards used to call a business decision for some of these kids. I mean, like you said, 6'3", 245. How bad do you want to stick your head in there?
Well, I know. When he came in as a freshman, he wasn't that big, but when we're running 110s, he was running them in 13 seconds. So I know he can get up and down the field pretty quick.
That's scooting.
Yeah. Of course, I know Coach Lockridge, D-line coach, Coach Taylor, they hold their breath every time he's in an offense. So
don't get my man hurt. Don't get my man hurt. I can hear it right now. Now, let me ask you, are you volunteer coach for Whitthorne?
No, sir.
Really?
I don't.
I'm surprised to hear that.
I don't. When I coached my boys in football when they were like 6, 5 or 6, and that was enough. Not that I guess that sounded really bad.
Wait a minute. He's coming up next year.
I guess it was the one sport that I just wanted them to learn on their own. And I said I told my wife when they're young, I said they're going to have 4 years of me apiece when they get to high school. I'll wait till they get to high school.
No, actually 3, because you have a freshman coach.
That's true. But we all kind of coach together.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we all practice together, kind of. So I figured I'll just I did coach them a little bit in baseball, a little bit in basketball. I guess football is a different animal, so I figured they'd have 4 years of tough coaching. So I've been trying to prepare them, coming up.
But Jase, how is it to have an all-round athlete as a dad who knows what you're capable of, and you might not give that 100% every time, and he's expecting that 100% every time?
Well, I'm just glad that I get to be taught this because it's like giving me an extra step.
Yeah.
It's helping me out. I get the early development. I'm ahead of the game whenever I get there, though.
And he knows if he's not going 100%, I'm going to make him do it over. So, ain't no question about that. So, but yeah, I told him, I said,
But does mom ever step in and say anything?
Nope. They're
Okay.
good. They're good
All
with
right.
it. I mean,
Okay.
That's kind of like when I played baseball. My dad was one of the assistant coaches. He was harder on me than he was anybody on the team.
Yeah.
You got to be, because I've been in that situation too, and the kid suffers because you don't want to be that.
Right.
You don't want to be the other one where
You
he's
don't wanna
out
be
there because
that
he's your kid.
Right,
No, you don't want to
right,
be that
right.
kid. I mean, my son always started off everywhere else in the order and wound up the year leading off, which is where he should have been from the start.
And I think
but you had to make sure that everybody knew that he needed to be the leadoff guy.
And I think the perfect example is that is when you go back and you look at the Ballou brothers.
Yeah.
They learned through the system. They didn't learn through dad. They learned through the coaches. They learned the system and how it worked.
And I think that's something I've been preaching to him, that when you get to high school, if you want to play on Friday nights, understand it's my job. I'm going to play the best 11. If you're not one of the best 11,
Right.
is what it is. And I'm trying to prepare them for that.
Don't care what your mama says.
In case you're not one of them. That's just that's the nature of the game. And I
But daddy got to go home to mama.
That's right. But it's one of those things I've already tried to let them know, like you're going to be the coach's kid, and you're going to have to work harder than everybody else. Because I can't give you any special treatment. I've already told them when we're at practice, it's coach.
I've always
coach. You're gonna be running.
Right.
You know?
I always found it unfortunate that a lot of these kids that are coaches' kids, they kind of get put under the microscope by everybody.
They do.
You know, and if it's another parent sitting there, and he's getting to play just because he's coach's kid. You know, and that's not necessarily true. You know,
rarely is it true because, like you said,
you put your best 11 out there.
Yeah,
You're trying to win a game. You ain't trying to please somebody.
And it may be a situation where him being a freshman, you have to bring him up.
Right, and you know there's always situations on teams where, depending on the nature of the position that your that you have, injuries may occur, or talent might not be as good in that spot this year, which might force you to bring a freshman up or a younger guy up. That's not necessarily, you know, choosing players because of who they are over other places. You know, it's the nature of the position. Right. You know, my 3 freshmen that played this year, they all earned their spot, but also those were spots that we didn't have a lot of upperclassmen that were developing in those areas. Right. So the opportunity was there. So I'm excited for those guys, but it's not that we just brought them up and say, you guys are going to be starters. Come in and earn that spot. And like I said, you know, we didn't have a lot of people in those types of positions this year. So they had opportunity. So you never know what next year will hold. You know, obviously the dad side of me deep down is obviously rooting for him. But like I told him, I said, you know, I can't treat you any different. And you know, when you're tired running sprints, I'm going to blow the whistle and make you run more. You know, it just is what it is. You know, so.
Up downs.
You said you were at the Summit Franklin County game. What were your impressions of the Franklin County quarterback who was the Lincoln County quarterback last year?
Goliath out there,
really?
man.
Yeah, did not know that.
He's only a sophomore, and he's that
he played
Tebow
against
type
you
of
guys
quarterback.
last year, did he not?
I think he had already tore his ACL by the time we played Lincoln County.
I think you're right. I think he had gotten hurt right before.
Probably
he
helped
played.
us because we had to come back and beat him last year. But this kid's big. I bet he's every bit of 6'3", 230.
Wow,
A big old boy.
Good gracious.
He's only a sophomore too. Runs well. Got a pretty good arm. Not the wing T team that we've been seeing out of Franklin County. I bet they threw it 35, 40 times against Summit. 4 or 5 wide receivers. Of course, their running back's probably 6'1", 220. It's that big old guys in the backfield. They're not bad up front. They're not huge, but they're not small. They're bigger than we are. Most teams are going to be bigger than us up front anyways this year. But they're young. So you know, they got a talented group. They're 4-3 right now. They're kind of where we're at. They're needing wins. So
they don't have a Jarius Johnson in the backfield this year, though.
No, thank God. Of course, I think after last year when we played him, I think that's when UT Martin offered him after they saw a game against us. I could say it because we ended up winning that game, but I bet he rushed for 400 yards against us on one play. I kept running the same play, and we couldn't stop it. So that was a long night.
To us a lot of times.
It was a long night last year.
Well,
It was a long night.
I think Eddie and I are going to take a road trip tomorrow night. I think we're going down to root you on.
There you go.
Yeah,
we're going down to
Winchester.
Winchester.
Yeah.
You have to want to go to Winchester.
You really do.
That's right.
But, there's some pretty good Q down there, though, too.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
But there's still no better ribeye sandwich than Lincoln County, though. I'm telling you. They got the best ribeye sandwich in their
Concession
At the
stand.
concession
stand.
stand?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me this now?
No, we
I
told
know.
you
We told you
went
before.
down there.
I could have made it this out myself.
I guess
$5, best you'll ever eat.
We usually have 2.
Well, we're going there again next year.
We have
so.
one first.
Oh,
We'd
really?
have one. We'd have
Yeah.
one
Already
first
drawn?
half, and then we'd have our
Already drawn.
second one the second half.
Whoa. Let's back this conversation. Why are we going to Lincoln County again next year?
Right. So
Because you got an odd number of region teams this year.
yeah, schedule is not complete.
Oh, man.
But we picked up a new region opponent in Rockvale High School. A new high school is going up in Murfreesboro.
Mm-hmm.
Going to start out with 1,600 students. So I'm
What?
imagining, 2 years
Wow.
they're going to be up to 6A. I
And
imagine.
Rockville, when I was there, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, was a
Little
very, very
small spot in the road.
Small spot in the road with a little bitty elementary school. And that's all they had.
Yeah, apparently
1,600 students.
Yeah, so
Wow.
they've added to our region. So now instead of having 6 region games, we'll have 7 region games.
Goodness gracious.
Which means only 3 non-region games. Spring Hill is already on the schedule. They're going to be the first game of the year next year.
So they'll be our backyard bowl.
Opening the season up.
Wow. Yep.
So we're breaking news here on all the balls.
Yes, we are.
That's
yes,
right.
we are. We're breaking news.
That's right. So
This just in.
Do you have some kind of a what is it? What's the click effects thing?
Yeah,
or
the
something?
which I'm glad it worked out that way. I think for us and for Spring Hill, it's better. Open the season up with a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Plus, crowd will be better no matter if we're both doing great. If we're both not having the year we want, it's the first game of the year.
We're both
right.
ought not.
And then what I like about it is when that game's over, we can focus on playoffs. We can focus on region games. Last year we were both 4-1. I felt that both teams after that game had a letdown in their seasons.
Really?
Spring Hill finishes 5-5 after we play them, and they were 4-1. We were 4-1, and we lose 3 of our next 5 games after that. I mean, that was kind of like our Super Bowl, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So I figured, hey.
But is that going to happen?
I hope not.
With it being the first game of the season.
Hope not, and hopefully it's just the case of, hey, that game's out of the way. Let's focus on what we got to focus on now. Now we can, if you want to have all the pregame hype, it's fine. It's first game of the year. You got to be ready for that game anyways. You have as much pregame hype and hype of that game as you want to. Still working on the other 2 non-region games. Those are up in the air right now. So some of the teams we've played in the past that we've had long-lasting relationships with, we might not be able to play this year.
When are your slots? Are they 3 and 5?
Right now it's week 2, week 4. I'm trying to get Franklin County's game because we drew them week 7 again, which is what this week is, fall break. So I'm trying to see if convince them if we can move our to week 6, which is be open week 7. So they have to agree to it, and a lot of that depends on what their schedule is. That's why I kind of haven't finalized my rest of my schedule yet. So I'm hoping to get my bye week during fall break next year. That's my plan. So, but end result, when we did redraw the schedule, most of it stayed most of it will be consistent. So, White County will come to us next year. I don't have to make that trip 2 years in a row. But Lincoln County, I have to go there again, and I will host Page again. But everything else has been.
You do know it's
switched.
2.5 hours to White County.
I know, yeah.
And 2.5 hours back.
I know.
It's a half a day.
But
to get there and back.
Hey, I'm actually excited about that one because I'm able to take. We're going to take the team to MTSU throughout the school day. We're going to do a campus tour.
You got that worked out?
Yep, we're going to do a campus tour there. So we're going to eat
Shoot,
lunch
man,
there.
I'll take you on a campus tour. I know all about that place.
Eat lunch there.
You don't know all about that place now.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
It's changed.
Just a tad.
But get our guys some exposure of what a college campus looks like. And we've been to Tennessee Tech for FCA camp, so I get a chance to take it to MTSU now. So just good for them to get some exposure, especially for our seniors. And whether they want to play ball or not, just to get a look at that campus that they might not have visited. So.
Well, if you've taken them to Tennessee Tech, now you can take them to a real college.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
He's right.
Yep. So I'm excited about it. Do that, and then we'll drive down through McMinnville, get a pregame meal down there. Then we'll drive up to Sparta. So, we'll make a day out of it. So.
What time y'all taking off? Early?
10 o'clock. I'm leaving early. Field trip.
Nice. I like it. Well, I mean, if you got to go
Columbia
to White
Central
County, you
High
might as well get
Lines
something out of it. Huh?
Going on a road trip.
That's right. Yep.
Well, that's cool. I like
is
that.
cool.
Make the whole day of it.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's this year, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. It's
In a couple weeks.
Couple
Couple
weeks.
weeks, yeah.
Franklin County tomorrow night. We host Shelbyville, and then we go to a White County. So we got a tough road ahead of us. Last 4 games. I think. Of course, I don't know the exact playoff picture, but I know you have to finish 4th in your region to get in. And for us to finish 4th with 0-2, I think we have to at least be 3-3. So that means we have to win at least 3 out of the next 4. If we win 4 out of the next 4, if it's 4-2, we should be in the top 4. So, but even at 3-3, I'm not sure. It depends on how other teams finish out and tiebreakers and things of those nature. So, we got to play our best football.
But the next 4 games are they're not easy games.
No, they're definitely probably. I say with the exception of Summit, they're probably probably the tougher part of our schedule. So we're gonna have to be focused, and play our butts off the next 4 weeks.
All right, now you guys have a locker room. Is it finished?
Locker room's finished.
Okay.
Yep, it's finished. Of course, the building that we're in, that's structurally sound, it flooded the other day after the week-long raining that we had. So,
Oh my God.
but it's okay. It's structurally sound, so it's okay. But the locker room didn't flood, so that was good.
Well, that's a positive.
That's right.
I mean, look at it from that standpoint.
That's right. So,
But I mean, you would expect a little water in there because, I mean, it only rained, 6 inches in like 3 hours or something like that?
every day. Yeah. It wasn't bad,
Yeah.
Every time we get
Noah only went by twice.
anytime we get a real bad rain like that for a week at a
Yeah.
time, we get a little bit, which is what it is. We deal with it.
What
so.
part of that building flooded?
A coach's locker room,
Oh.
where we change. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess if any place, it might as well be that, not the locker room. So.
Well, they've got plenty of wet dry vacs at Lowe's. I mean, you can
That's
go out
right.
there and get one.
That's right. So we've made the most out of that building. Our booster club got the hallway down there painted that matches our locker room now. So we're off season. We're going to work on putting up a bunch of region plaques and district, from past. We got some old trophies we're going to put up in the hallway, and I got Shaq, Trey D, and Fred Sparkman's jersey frame. They're going to go up down that hallway. So we're going to try to make it a little Hall of Fame, I guess, for football down there. So it'll look good here this time next year. Just a work in progress.
So
still.
football has the entire bottom area, right?
Not really. We got, of course, the weight room is shared by all the sports. We have our coaches' offices and our locker room down there. The right side of the building is where the wrestling practice room is going to be.
I thought they practiced upstairs in the old gym.
And they just moved it down.
Oh, okay.
We're hopefully eventually gonna take that old gym up there and put some field turf down in there. That way our football, baseball, softball, rugby can all use that, for bad weather days and stuff. So this is all still a work in progress, but there's goals. So
Wish lists, huh?
there's wish list.
Hey, at least you got a building.
Yeah, we did have a
We
building.
didn't have a building before.
Yep, that's true. So we have a
Because
place.
those I can tell you, those were classrooms at one time.
Oh yeah, they were. I mean, our weight room is the old welding shop.
Yep,
So
it is.
yep.
Yep.
So, which that's
The
something,
old ag
that's
shop.
something we want to do in the next few years is we want to revamp our weight room. So
And when I was going to school there, where you are now was called the new gym.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's now the old one.
Yeah.
It's
right.
the one upstairs. Yeah.
The rubberized floor
Oh
upstairs.
yeah, it had a rubberized floor. Yeah, yeah. Got into a big fight up there once.
For CMA in basketball in summer league
Yeah.
at that gym.
Yeah. They did summer league up there. I guess even when Coach Merle was still there, they would do summer league up there. Yeah.
Well, we did it. We had the two gyms at Central, Columbia State, and CMA's.
Yep.
Lord, how many teams did y'all have?
We would bring in probably about 20 teams on 2-week period, swap them completely out, and host them and do a 2-week camp, and then we'd do summer league. And sometimes, we'd go Mount Pleasant or Spring Hill or somewhere.
Yeah.
Then most time, though, they came down to us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty neat.
Sounds like
We had the dormitories at
at CMA.
CMA, so we could host a lot of teams.
And for any folks who go out to Lindsey Nelson Stadium, rest assured they're working on the lighting problem that's out there. The new LED lights that they installed work perfectly on the field.
I see great down there.
It's outstanding. But for those in the stands and for those in the press box who can't see the scoreboard, and for around the outer edges, they're going to put in some halogen lights up there, or LED lights too.
So the lights work fine on the field.
Oh, they're
Right.
amazing on the field.
The only thing you see
other
of the
night-
scoreboard is the time
numbers.
left.
Yeah.
The numbers.
You can't see what it's in relation to.
Right.
Right.
You know.
But what you're concerned with is the lights on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the lights in the field were great, but as a spectator, watching the Whitthorne games this year, Definitely some issues that I'm glad the park is addressing.
Well,
Issues.
let's go back now. Let's jump back into the conversation we were a while ago. Now, okay, now you're a spectator. You're not an assistant coach, or you're not a volunteer coach for with.
Right.
Are you a fence hanger?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
What?
I sit up there. I sit with my wife and we watch, and I might lean over her and say something. She'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I let them be. I'm there as a parent to watch, and I try to keep it.
So Maurice, there you go. There's your cut line with the paper. Regardless of public opinion, Jason Hoath is not a fence hanger.
No. Do they ever ask you for your thoughts? Or
I've talked to some of them before, but that's something I'm going to sit down with Coach Reeser at the Cox at some point. We're going to talk some things. High school, middle school, you want them to be somewhat similar in a lot of things you do. At the same time, I understand that we also come from different backgrounds of coaching, and they're going to do things that they want to do a certain way. And I'm okay with that. If some of the terminology can be the same, then that's a step. Like for example, I know shotgun is not easy to do in middle school, and 98% of the time we're in shotgun. So that's something that's I don't expect a middle school team to do that. We run a lot of 4 wide receivers. That's another hard thing to do in middle school. So there's some concepts that I don't expect to be mirrored. Some that I think we continue to work on mirroring some of the concepts that we do. That way, it's an easier transition from middle school to high school. So, but at the same time, I'm gonna let them do their job. They're hired as coaches, and they've got football background knowledge too. So I'm gonna let them do their thing, and we're gonna continue to do our thing when they get in high school.
It would just seem like to me that it would kind of behoove, and I mean, I'm not seeing any middle school football around here, but it would seem like if you're a middle school coach and you're trying to get your guys ready for the high school level, that you would try to reach out and say, hey, what are y'all doing? What can we do? And try to kind of get on the same page to the extent possible.
And I know like Whitthorne's defense lines up real similar to how we do in high school. I think some of the techniques are different, but as far as alignment, general areas, they're kind of where we're at, which is good. In a 4-2-5 look, which is a good look for middle school.
Because you probably got more defensive backs than you do linebackers in middle school.
Right. So, I mean, it was fine. I know the technique's a little bit different. That's okay. And with the way we teach our D-line and linebackers, those are harder concepts to teach at middle school. But if they can come up and knowing what a 3 technique tackle is or where to line up, that's huge. That goes a long way. So. And just offensively, we have numbering system with our route tree and stuff. So those are things that, small things like that we can work on with the middle school teams. That, we're talking about a 0 route, it means a quick slant or something like that. So, there's things we can do to continue to work in that direction, though.
Man, that's got to be tough for a freshman to all of a sudden be jerked up to junior varsity, because he just came from what you just talked about. How do you work that guy to get him ready within just a few weeks?
Right. It's one, it's a big commitment. We meet with the middle school teams. I meet with the freshman parents before school is even over, and I let them know that the first Monday after graduation is the first day of summer workouts. And with the way TSSAA works now, they used to be only able to run and lift. Well, now you can do offense and defense and drills with a football during the month of June. So essentially that means, we can go out there and run some stuff. So, we'll have we work out for an hour, we run for 30 minutes. We about 45 minutes of offensive work, 45 minutes of defensive work. So during that month of June, we are installing, our offensive formations, our routes, defense formation. So a lot of those guys, if they can pick it up quickly, then come July when we start putting pads on, if a kid's physical, can play, and they know what they're doing, we can work with that kid. So a lot of what we put in on offense, defense, they should already know pretty well before July even comes.
But what is the facial reaction to that freshman when you walk over and say, I need you to be on our starting varsity squad?
I think they're excited and they're a little nervous at the same time. I think they're like I said, excited about that opportunity getting to play on Friday night, with the big guys. And we just preach to them that, you're going to make mistakes. Everybody, seniors are going to make mistakes. That's okay as long as we're going 100%, full speed. Because in high school football, a lot of X's and O's, but it's more attitude and more effort. You're going to win more games with attitude and effort in high school than you will with X's and O's. That's something you can't coach. I've been coaching my 11 years now. You can't coach attitude. And if you have a positive attitude, usually your effort's going to be there with it. And if you give effort, everything else kind of falls in place. So the X's and O's take care of itself at that point. But every now and then we have some attitude issues that we got to readjust, and
That's why from time to time you won't see that starter.
Sometimes you won't,
in the first quarter.
Yeah. Or second quarter.
Depending
on the nature of what it is.
Or the rest of the season.
That's right. True.
Yeah.
True.
So, that's something we always got to do with 8th graders coming in, because, freshmen, they're still that immaturity stage that, there's a lot of got to work with them as well. So, how
good do the seniors work with those freshmen?
Oh, they're getting better. We've preached accountability to these guys, and they've it's got to be their team. Because no matter how many we win or how many we lose, God willing, I'll still be there. But they're going to move on no matter what. So it's whatever they want, their year to be remembered as. Whatever they want their legacy to be. They want to be one of those teams that didn't help the younger guys and were just in it for themselves. Where they're all about the team, and not just for this year, but for years to come. And that's the biggest thing, is that we preach to these guys that always got to put the team first. The team's needs come before anybody else. So
you talked about Aaron Farmer breaking his collarbone and being done for the year, and I've done this for a pretty good while. It's always kind of been sad to me to see a senior. Now Aaron is kind of an exception, this being his first year, but you had Nante last year that didn't get to play at all.
Right.
From a coaching standpoint, when you see a senior not get to finish out his season, what's that like?
It's tough. Anytime you see a season-ending injury, it's hard. It's really hard on seniors, just because, you always preach to players, you play like it's your last play, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was your last play. And, for somebody like Aaron, I think first year playing football, came out and he did exceptionally well. Came out and ended up being our starting tight end. Was really, really physical in the run blocking game. He probably could have played some small college football somewhere after just 1 year of high school football. No doubt in my mind he could have done it. So the fact that he went down and, that happened, I hate it for him. I think just him being around the team, he, found a second family. He's been a soccer player, homeschool student, but I think he really, really grew to these guys, and guys have grown to him, and a lot of emotions for him, that night too, and hate to see his football career end that way unless we make the playoffs and we make a push, and he should be good to go at that point. He's got a bunch of screws and metal there now, so it should be better than what it was before.
Can't go through a metal detector. But Jase, let me ask you this. What do you want your legacy to be after 4 years at Central High School when you graduate in 4 years? God, I'll be 68.
That's a tough question right there.
For an 8th grader.
Yeah.
I want to be going to Auburn University.
He wants to go to Auburn, I know.
No. You're going to say it right.
Auburn.
I hope he can just leave
now,
after 4 years. Just
now then, you going to be a War Eagle or are you going to be a Tiger?
I know, that's the big question. Hey, we had a chance. I took him down to the Auburn LSU game.
Oh,
so
I bet that was a good game.
It was. Of course, LSU ended up winning last play of the game with the field goal, but it was a cool experience, though.
Heck of an atmosphere.
Oh, it is. It was unbelievable.
That's like mega college atmosphere.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty excited to get the chance to go. Of course, we were 2 rows from the very top of the stadium, but it was fun. We were at least right in the middle.
Hey,
though,
we've
so.
been there before. Several times.
Yeah. Listen, guys, appreciate y'all coming in, and
Thanks for having us.
and let's go Lions rest of the season.
Definitely.
Let's get this thing. Maurice, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, we got pizza coming, man.
Okay.
I can smell it.
The pizza chick's getting it taken
Yes, she
care of.
is. Yes, she is. She's getting it done. She's taking care of things, taking care of business. Thanks to Truelove's Pizza and Grits. Chip, thank you. Eddie, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we are, for this Thursday night, out of here.